Hey, I'm Heather, and I'm a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner, as well as a transformational mindset coach. And I'm here today to talk to you about my experience as a quantum healing hypnosis client. So I want to tell you a little bit about my first experience that I encountered when I had my first session over 2 years ago. I reached out looking for a practitioner in the area, and I ended up coming across someone who was over 2 hours away. And I drove there, lost signal on my way, and was kind of freaked out about how am I going to get out of here? What do I do if I can't get in touch with her? All of the nerve-wracking things. And so as I get there, I park, I text her, and I tell her I'm there. And the most weirdest thing happened. I was sitting in the parking lot realizing that I needed to charge my phone, and whenever I plugged it in, and my phone was Bluetooth to my vehicle at the time, all of a sudden I started having issues where it was saying, not singing, "You are dead, you are dead, you are dead, you are dead." Now, this was early on in my session, and I could have freaked out, I could have turned around, I could have said, no, I'm not going to do it. And it did it about 2 different times, and I finally was like, you know what, this is a test from the universe to see if I was going to push through. And I'm glad I did. So when I went upstairs and I had my session, I laid down and I was very nervous. Even though I had already been a practitioner, I was in the midst of getting my client set up to do my certification. So I'd already took the plunge and I knew about the entire process. Some of that probably led to a lot of in the beginning, my nerves, because I knew and expected everything. I knew what she was going to say. I knew the script very well. And so the perfectionist in me was like, she didn't say it right, or she missed a word, those kind of things early on in my journey. So anywho, the session that I had was so profound in the fact that my very first life that I went into was it reminded me of a sister wife. And when I came into the scene, I really couldn't tell what I looked like, and it was literally nothing in my mind. I didn't see anything what you would say seeing. It was more of a knowing. And as I was kind of setting myself into the character, I saw that I had on a dress. It was handmade. As I looked around the room, I realized I was sitting at a very large table, and there was this really big fat man standing up at the end, and he was very cheery, rosy cheeks, but there was something about him that I just did not like. Fast forward, I realized that I looked around, there were other women there. They were all about my age. We almost all looked alike. We dressed exactly alike. There were kids running around like rabbits. And all I can think of is like, I do not like this place. I did not like it. And she fast forwarded me in time, and I was running away. And in that particular life that I saw, I ran, briars were catching me, but I felt free. And so then I kind of leapfrogged into another completely different life in which I was an Indian. I was a male. I got the word Navajo that came to mind. I saw like my outfit. It was more of like still pictures in that particular life. I had on like the cowhide, the brown cowhide outfit, long pants, moccasins, and we had like a really small tribe of teepees. And my mother that's in this life was actually our medicine woman in that life, which was really cool. And she was blonde, and we respected her so much, and I was there to kind of help because all of the men that were there apparently were out on a hunt, and I was there to kind of protect the tribe. It was a very small tribe. We had fire going in the center, And when she fast forwarded me, I went to the scene where another tribe had came in. And whenever this tribe came in on horse, they basically wreaked havoc on our tribe and ended up killing all of us. And the part that I remember was an actual spear went through my back. And I was laying there and I was dying, and I felt so bad and so guilty that I was not able to protect my people. And it's awfully funny because where I felt that sensation during that life, I actually looked on my back and I have a birthmark in that area. Pretty cool. So anyways, I was holding on to the guilt and all of that through that particular life. And then I left that life and went into the third life. And my third life was very vivid. I remember walking through, I was wearing like old blue plaid pants. I had on a white ruffle shirt, very like modern, but like I would imagine in the 50s and 60s. I felt very sure that I was in Florence, Italy. I remember being very slim. I had very bouncy black curls. My hair was like about shoulder length. And I remember walking through and like doing my hair like this, going, oh my gosh, because my hair is so flat in this life. But in that particular life, it was so bouncy and curly, and I just felt so amazing. And as I'm walking, like I can look up, and all of the people that were in the streets, they were like hanging out clothes. They were literally like waving at me, like they knew who I was. It was so weird when I first was coming into the scene. I was like, how do these people know me? So I continue walking, and the practitioners ask me, you know, what's going on, what's happening next. And next thing I know, I walk into a candy store. When I get into the candy store, I then realize that I own this candy store. It's a chocolate candy store. And there are actually people that I recognize from this life. One of them being a girl that I met here in Tennessee. We actually worked together. She was actually a worker for me in that life. She made candy and was selling behind the counter. Then I realized that my son now was a guy that took interest in me in that particular life. My current husband was my father in that life. And my mom had apparently died. We didn't go into that. So my mom had died, but my dad had remarried. But before he remarried, he signed the chocolate store over to me. I was in my mid-20s, and he was doing it just for protection. And so the candy store was in my name, apparently. But my stepmom didn't find out until later. Well, come to find out, after kind of being in this life for a little bit, kind of setting the scene, I found out that my evil stepmother was my daughter in this life. And it made me realize a lot of the things that we have been going through, trying to heal. And I couldn't figure out why we had such a hard time with the mother-daughter aspect of it. But being in that life, I was like, oh my gosh. So we had to flip roles where I was the mother, she was the daughter, instead of her being the mom and I was the stepdaughter. That dynamic had to flip in order for her to be able to let go and me to let go. And it's insane, right? And so that life was so intense. Like everything was so vivid. And in that particular life, I ended up marrying who my son is now. We got married and had a wonderful life. And I actually cut all ties with my father and my stepmother. And we were fine. We were very successful. But my stepmother in that life and my father in that life literally was devastated. Like they wanted to have a partner life, but we were like, we can't deal with that. So here we are in this life, completely switched the dynamic. My husband is no longer my father, he's my husband. My then husband is now my son. And my stepmother, my evil stepmother, is now my current daughter. How cool is that? So we're here trying to learn the lessons, trying to figure out how to make all this work and heal from all of those wounds and karma, if you want to call it that. I call it the law of cause and effect. The things that we did then, we're trying to make amends to it and just learn the lesson of how to incorporate mother-daughter love and just a system dynamic of figuring out things and just being support for one another. So I thought I would share my first experience. It started out very scary. And so I look at people who are like, I am so afraid to do it, but I want to do it. I'm here to tell you, I knew what I was getting into. It still kind of went a little crazy, but I feel that it was a test from the universe. I have since had many other sessions since then, and I've asked those questions like, why did I experience it? And it was mainly because they wanted me to go through what I would call fear in order to overcome it, because I'm going to have clients who's going to be in that fear and just to know to push through no matter what, and things will just happen. So it was a great experience. I've had lots of other sessions since then, and I'll share with you what I've experienced with those two. But I thought this is a great one to share because it definitely was an eye-opener for me. It was the very first one I ever did. And I'm so glad that I had that experience, and I've learned so much from it, continue to learn from it as I listen back to that very first session that I had. So I hope you enjoy. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to share some more things with you, and I hope you have a great day.